Do you have any idea how weird that was? Do you have any idea probably how much joy that brought the Spirit of God? Seriously. Seriously. You were very biblical today in your silliness because of your joy. Do you have any idea how hard it was to come and dare to lead something like that? So once again, Ann, oh my gosh, that took guts. And I'm proud of Crosswalk for trying things and seeing how it goes. And you know what? Songs bring us together, but you guys were laughing like crazy. And did you feel anything change in your bodies, by the way? To kind of relax, kind of center into the space? Now, some of us were born into and raised in churches that would never, ever dare such a thing. Maybe a guest speaker could come and pull off some of that, and they'd never be asked back again, right? And maybe get a church to do a little bit. But I applaud you for giving it a shot, and if it made you a little uncomfortable, good. That's a good thing. We believe that we're trying to follow Jesus, and some of the things that he did, one of the things he was constantly doing was stretching people's imaginations and thinking. And so part of following Jesus is to always be on the lookout for how we can stretch, and you stretched today. So thank you very much for doing that. How many of you have ever been stuck in traffic? And that could be any number of places in Napa, right? But let's say you're going down Trancas and you're at a stoplight. It's around 3 o'clock-ish, and school has let out, which means it's extra heavy traffic. All these parents picking up their kids and so on. And you look behind you in your rear view mirror, and there's a guy. Let's just say it's a guy because that is easier to imagine. And this guy thinks he is in his own world. He's in the privacy and the sanctuary of his own car. And because he's in the sanctuary of his own car, he feels free to go on a gold mine expedition. And you look back there, and his finger is about as far up his nose as you can imagine. Have any of you ever caught somebody picking their nose in the car, driving down the road or in traffic or whatever? I bet you have. Have any of you been guilty of that? A couple of you. Thank you for your honesty today. Reminds me of this greeting card that I've seen over the years and different pictures, but it's a birthday card. And the idea is that you take a lot of time to pick out just the right birthday card. And so this one on the cover says, "I picked a good one for you." Because my wife runs the children's program and teaches Kids Crossing, elementary age kids, there have been many times where I've gone in there and they're working on a craft. These kids they're super busy. They're having a great time. And one of them's, with their left hand, they're working on whatever they're working on, and the other one is the fingers right up their nose. It's a joy to see it, even though it's a little bit gross. It's a joy just to see them in their environment. And again, I just want to remind you, maybe we are the zoo for aliens to watch and laugh at all the time. Have you ever seen somebody walk out of the bathroom and they've got toilet paper stuck to the bottom of their shoe, right? And they are celebrating with grand, unknowing humor what they've just accomplished, right? With their white streamer going everywhere. Anybody ever walked out of a bathroom with toilet paper stuck to your shoe? I bet you have. How about this? Anybody? I know some of you are famous for this. How many of you have a knack for spilling food on yourself when you go out to eat? Yeah, very good. How many of you realize it much too late that you're announcing what you had for lunch on your shirt? Yeah, that's right. One time I was eating a sandwich. I was on vacation, and I think my daughter pointed out that some of the oil-based spread on my sandwich dropped in a very unfortunate place on my pants, and I was stuck with this sight for the rest of the day. It was not good, not a good day for me. Let's see if I got any others. Oh yeah, how about this one? Have any of you ever, if you're walking around the neighborhood or you're in your car and you see somebody stumble a little bit, and and they're okay, right? So no injuries or anything. But as soon as they get up, their first thing to do is to look around and see if anybody saw them trip, right? You ever seen that? Have any of you ever done that? As soon as you trip or stumble or whatever, your immediate thing is, who saw me, right? You feel like a complete fool. Yeah, We are weird animals, and this is all humorous stuff that we weird animals do all the time. And we could go on and on and on about our weird tendencies and what that does for us and how we look if we really are honest. We have a hard time, though, sometimes laughing at ourselves. And I think there's great value in that. Last week we looked at the word humility and talked about kind of an extreme. I really focused on being egocentric and focused on ourselves to the detriment of others often. And how we need to get back to that hummus word, the groundedness of ourselves. Not take ourselves so seriously so that we have room for compassion for other people. And somebody in our my noon group on Tuesday mentioned that, there's another side of this that I didn't recognize, but we need to. That sometimes our self-esteem can be so low that to even hear the idea of humility being a pillar of joy doesn't seem like that it makes any sense at all. You know what I mean? Because they feel kind of humiliated in their own head all the time because of things that have happened to them, things that people said to them, things they've said to themselves. And so it struck me that there needs to be some kind of a balance here, because just as the egocentrism, which puffs us up, gets in the way of joy, so the other side always does too. And I wonder if it's almost like we need to be pH balanced in our groundedness. Like when we are really self-deprecating and our language about ourselves is horrible, I wonder if that actually is robbing us of joy because we're forgetting that we are of this earth, that we were created. And the Jewish myth story at the beginning of the Bible talks about us being very good and a part of this soil. It's a good thing. And so I wonder how your pH balance is doing on your humility factor as a joy pillar. But then today we're looking at a related word, because humor comes from the same root word hummus. Not the 2 M's hummus that we ate for communion last week, but the 1 M hummus, which means earth, soil, of the earth. Humor is also there to give us a groundedness, to help us be silly with ourselves, to get over ourselves, to loosen up a little bit, because we have enough seriousness all the time. And I would think humor actually is a spiritual act. That's why I'm so grateful that Anne leaned into this today. And I'm saying again, I think we did what Psalm 100 was wanting us to do. When Michael Gunger was with us and he talked about us being a chorus and what can we have and what can we build together, he talked about how he valued the idea of people not singing perfectly. And he actually prefers a choir or a chorus that's a little out of tune, to have somebody that's not quite on, because it makes it that much more authentic. And I think humor reminds us in a very good way that we're all trying our best, but we are goofy animals a lot of the time. And the sooner we can get over ourselves and just relax into that, the better off we're all going to be. We're going to be better off on ourselves, and we're going to be better toward other people. Now, of course, there's some unhealthy humor that cause problems in the world. And certainly you've probably at least seen this happen and maybe participated in it. We probably all have. And that's the kind of humor that makes fun of others, gets the easy laugh by taking a shot at somebody. That's more on the cutting side. It's not really meant to lift up and to celebrate a person as much as it is to tear somebody down. Sarcasm is really good at this. A snide remark, which might get people to snicker, but at the end of the day, it's not really shalomi at all. Have any of you ever heard anybody take a shot like that or hear that? Of course, it's all over the place. And on the other side of it, there's another kind of unhealthy that I was reminded of, again, because of my practice group this week that somebody commented. I think that it's possible for us to degrade ourselves in our humor. And when people do that, when they make fun of themselves, but in kind of a maybe not a super healthy way, I wonder if, as funny as it might be and as many laughs as it might get, I wonder if there's an unhealthy self-humor, a self-deprecation that isn't healthy. You know what I mean? That somehow sticks in with us and reinforces our unworthiness. You know what I mean? When really hummus is telling us, no, you're very good. You are the substance of the earth, and you are divine infused. It's a powerful, powerful thing. And so I think there's got to be a pH balance, not that we get so serious about making sure our humor is just right that we can't laugh at it anymore. But you see what I'm saying? A healthy humor doesn't take ourselves so seriously, encourages other people to laugh a little bit more, and it's good for the soul. Literally good for the soul. And it turns out pretty good for world peace as well. Now, what does this have to do with the Joseph story? Here's my contention. I think you could read the Joseph story, and most of us, when we read it, we think of it as a drama. And if we can imagine the lighting that might come in, so this was put to film or something, imagine the dark lighting, the moody lighting, and imagine the soundtrack that goes with this kind of heavy soundtrack. One bad thing after another for poor Joseph and his family. But now in your mind, change the lighting, change the music, and maybe it's a dramedy. And I want to encourage you to think about it like this. The Bible's actually full of dramedy, ridiculous stories. The book of Genesis is one story after another, and there's ridiculousness in the story, as if on purpose, because it's there on purpose. You have a story, remember Joseph's dad, Jacob, right? And you remember last week I talked about how he played favorites with his would-be 12 sons, and Joseph was his favorite. And he made it known. Well, remember that the reason why he was his favorite was because he got married to this woman, the love of his life, Rachel. But before that, he got married to Leah first by accident. Well, when you're telling this story around the campfires in ancient Judaism, and somebody says, well, it's time to tell the story about how Jacob got married to Rachel, when they start talking about how he went 7 years, worked 7 years for Laban, his soon-to-be father-in-law, and he gets to his wedding night, and lo and behold, it's not Rachel, it's Leah, her older sister. There was supposed to be laughter around the campfire because it's a ridiculous story. There's so many stories like this in the Bible, and unfortunately, I think we've been taught and trained to take the Bible so seriously and even literally that we can't appreciate it, what it is. The book of Jonah is a myth that's created by the prophet people of old, and it was meant to create hilarity among the hearers. If you can imagine, whoever it is, we're not even sure who wrote it, because they were too risky to write such a piece of propaganda, which was going to hold Israel accountable using humor. But if you can imagine one of these guys, almost like a town crier, coming into the middle of the town folk and say, hey, I've got a story from God about God for you, my Hebrew brothers and sisters. And they lay into this crazy story about this guy named Jonah, doesn't want to follow God, goes exactly the opposite way. And what happens to him? He gets swallowed by a whale. But he's alive somehow for 3 days and 3 nights and gets spit out by the whale. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. And when he finally goes and preaches to the people that they're going to burn in hell because they're such horrible people. It's the shortest sermon ever. And he goes up on the hillside to watch, and now he's got this plant that comes over him to give him shade, and he's so happy about that. And then the plant withers, and he cries out to God, I'd rather die. You know, the whole thing is ridiculous. Even some of Jesus' parables are ridiculous. They're meant for people around the campfire to chuckle as they're listening to it, because when we're laughing, our guard is down, and we are able to lean in a little bit more. There's a vulnerability that is created with humor that helps us. So maybe we got to keep an eye out for the funny things that happen. The Dalai Lama was visiting Ireland during the time of the Troubles. The Troubles were when the war between Protestants and Catholics was some of the ugliest times. I think it was 1978 he was there when people were bombing each other over whether or not they were following the right branch of Christianity, if you can imagine that. It's crazy, just crazy. And the Dalai Lama was there with a group of people on the Protestant side to hear their story and to try to listen and understand and bring some objective influence to influence peace. And he's hearing one of these people who's a fighter talking about how they're on the right side, that from the moment they were born, they were told that Jesus was not Catholic, Jesus was Protestant. And at that point, the Dalai Lama literally busted out laughing. I mean for a long time, and was happy to announce to this guy that Jesus was neither Protestant or Catholic or Christian, but in fact was Jewish, much to their chagrin. Humor is necessary to help us make sense of ourselves. Archbishop Desmond Tutu was being taken somewhere in his car, and his wife was with him, and his words, he said, "My wife was looking a little more smug than usual," and so he tried to figure out what was going on. He looked at the car ahead of him, and the bumper sticker on that car said this: "Any woman who wants to be equal to a man has no ambition." That's pretty good. This is a long quote, but pretty good. This is what Archbishop Tutu has to say to us. "I reckon there are many people who think they have to be somber because it gives them gravitas, and they feel they are more likely to be respected if they are serious. But I believe very fervently that one of the ways of getting into the hearts of people is the capacity of making them laugh. If you're able to laugh at yourself, then everyone knows you're not pompous. Besides, you hardly ever knock down someone who is knocking himself down. You're not likely to clobber someone if they're already, as it were, self-clobbered. I don't think I woke up and presto, I was funny. I think it's something that you can cultivate. Like anything else, it is a skill. Yes, it does help if you have the inclination, and especially if you can laugh at yourself. So learn to laugh at yourself. It's really the easiest place to begin. It's about humility. Laugh at yourself and don't be so pompous and serious. If you start looking for the humor in life, you will find it. You will stop asking, why me, and start recognizing that life happens to all of us. It makes everything easier, including your ability to accept others and accept all that life will bring. The author of this book, who was also conducting this interview between the Dalai Lama, it's called The Book of Joy, and Archbishop Tutu, he remarked, the first half of the book, by the way, is just talking about their interaction. And then they finally get into these pillars of joy that we're working through in the back half of the book. But one of the things you see again and again and again in the recollection is that the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop Tutu were first good friends, and they were teasing each other constantly. They were laughing constantly. There was joy in the room because they were not taking themselves so seriously. Ribbing in the best way, you know what I mean? And it was a beautiful thing. Angie Barker Jackson gave me a tip to check out a particular speaker, and I'm glad she did because I want to share her work today. She's going to introduce herself, but what she's going to get into is the connection between humor and the capacity to bring more peace into the world. Humor not only, obviously, helps cultivate joy. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But what if humor has a bigger capacity than just making us happy for the moment? So enjoy this video, and we'll have a conversation afterwards.
Trial lawyer turned stand-up comedian and Baptist minister. Just what you thought when you saw me, right? Wait, it gets better. I also ride a Harley Davidson. Yes, yes. Every year, my husband and I take a 2-week cross-country motorcycle trip. And in fact, a couple of years ago, we were actually turned away from a motel in Montana because they thought we were Hell's Angels. I'm so proud of that. That's so great, right? I mean, okay, we were looking a little sketchy. You know, here I am in my biker leathers and my fake tattoos, what most clergy wear on vacation, you know. But because of how we looked, the desk clerk turned us away. I mean, I should have known better. The name of the motel was the Sea and Sand, which in Montana is suspect, you know. But nonetheless, we went next door to the biker-friendly Days Inn, freshened up, I put on a clean Harley t-shirt, and then decided to take my business card, Reverend Susan Sparks, to my new friend at the Sea and Sand. So I walk over there, put the card on the desk, and I'm like, you know, Bible says judge not. Well, here's the kicker. As I'm walking out the door, she bursts out laughing and says, I guess there's a little Hell's Angel in all of us. It's so great. I mean, the bottom line is we judge each other by the dumbest things. Things like where someone's from, or what they look like, or what kind of biker leathers and fake tattoos they're wearing. Things that have absolutely nothing to do with who we are as people. I mean, at least we could take the biker leathers off. But so many are judged for things they can't take off. Things like race, nationality, gender, even religion. Let me share with you what I have learned in 15 years as an ordained minister and a professional stand-up comedian. You ready? Laughter is the key to world peace. And no, that's not a punchline. Because when human beings, when we look at each other, we tend to see the differences first. And laughter reverses that formula. It's like when we laugh together, we share something. Like a big spotlight comes down on our commonalities we may not have seen before. And in that moment, something shifts beneath the surface. And we begin to go from judgment to forgiveness, from hatred to understanding, from despair to hope. I mean, given the headlines and the papers, can you imagine a message the world needs more? One of my greatest joys is being part of the Laugh in Peace comedy tour, starring me, a Baptist, a stand-up rabbi, and a Muslim comic. Yeah. In our show, Rabbi Bob Alper, for example, talks about studying in Israel after seminary. Eager to try out his biblical Hebrew, he gets in a cab and says to the driver in Hebrew what he thinks is "let me out here." The driver bursts out laughing and explains what Bob had said was, "Behold, here I descend." I talk about the oftentimes narrow worldview of Christians, including my people, the Baptists. For example, Southern Baptists, they can toe a pretty hard line, but their theology is always short and sweet, like their idea of heaven. You ain't Southern Baptist, you ain't coming. You know, that's a lot of people not coming. It's like 6.5 billion people not coming. You know, if you look at a world map, that's like every landmass on the face of the globe not coming, except Texas and Alabama. And then Azhar Usman, our Muslim comic, loves to riff on what it's like to be a Muslim in America, especially going through airports. He says to our audience, "I don't get why you're so upset that you have to be there 2 weeks ahead of time. I have to be there 2 months ahead of time." Our audiences, which span everything from yarmulkes and burqas to Easter hats, gets a rare visual. Jewish, Christian, Muslim, standing together, not hating, not judging, but laughing in solidarity. And it's then our worlds, ours and our audiences, overlaps for a tiny but significant moment, and we lock into our common humanity. It's no wonder that Georgetown University's conflict resolution program has identified humor as playing a significant role in peace building. I mean, why not? Genetic studies show that notwithstanding things like nationality or race or gender, we as human beings are 99.99% genetically the same. I mean, think about that. I mean, that means all of the hatred and judgment and even war is over 0.01%. I mean, that's so crazy. Why would anybody fight over a teeny tiny decimal point? I mean, it's like my Southern grandmother used to say, "Honey, I think the butter has slipped off their biscuit." Let me share with you an example of what might happen if we would focus on the commonalities first. It happened in one of our Laugh in Peace college shows. It was sponsored by the Muslim Student Association and the Jewish Student Association. And backstage, before the show, we heard the presidents of each organization busily talking about where they were going for dinner. Later, they told us that even though their offices were right next to each other in the student union, before the show, they had never spoken. And now they're friends, hanging out. Look, bottom line, you cannot hate each other if you laugh together. You just can't. I mean, are we going to change the world overnight with laughter? No. But we are going to start a ripple effect where we change how we see each other and eventually change the world. But that change has to start here. With each one of us, we have to be the first to make the move. It's like a parade that I saw last year in the Midwest. It was called the Stand Still Parade. Why? Because all of the floats and bands and Shriners were stationary, parked along the road. It was the crowd that marched by. Well, like that standstill parade, we can no longer afford to just stand still and watch judgment and hatred march by. It's our time to move. It's our time to get up and march past that 0.01%. It's our time to engage the world with a fresh new lens. I mean, it's like a billboard my husband and I saw on our latest motorcycle trip. At the top, it said, Minnesota Cremation Society. Underneath that was a photograph of a casket, and underneath that, it said, think outside the box. That's what I'm talking about. I want laughter to help us live the words of that sign. I want laughter to help us come at the world in a fresh, new way. I want laughter to help us see the commonalities first. Our homework? I want each and every one of us to leave here today and start to bring laughter into every aspect of our lives, into our workplaces, our boardrooms, our courtrooms, our hospitals, our jails, our schools, our houses of worship, our families. Bring humor into all aspects of your life so that together we can laugh our way to world peace, one joke at a time. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. One of the things you mentioned had to do with her little troop that goes around, and it reminded me of Napa's Interfaith Leadership Council, because every time we meet, we love each other, by the way. We are an incredibly tight community. We look after each other. We have each other's back. We are as diverse as, probably in a surprising way, in Napa as you can possibly be. So we have a Muslim part of us, cleric. We've got a Jewish rabbi. We've got people from Baha'i, Unitarian Universalists, Buddhists, Center for Spiritual Living, 3 different Christian tribes. And when we get together, one of the reasons why it's so wonderful and usually well attended is because there's so much joy. And we laugh every time we get together. We're probably annoying the offices around us because we bring so much joy to each other's lives, and we laugh about whatever. We take things seriously. We take stands on stuff. But we found that humor and our laughing together is just a natural part of our camaraderie. And so I want you to think about that. And I want to give you an opportunity now. I'm wondering, how is this resonating with you? How has this been true for you? What insights do you have? And I'm just going to take a couple minutes and let you talk to me. And I'll repeat what you say so our online people can hear. But anybody got something that you want to say that resonates with you about anything we've been doing today? From our worship activity that Ann led to us, through what I've said, to the speaker, Susan Sparks. Anything? Yeah, Dave and Beck.
I was thinking about this when Ann was doing her thing, because there's this thing called synchrony, which has been studied in psychology, and it's about bonding, when people feel bonded together. And so they talked about singing together, moving together, and laughing together as three things. I mean, it's like they study this, so it's a real thing. That feeling of bonding, that feeling of being together,
Yeah.
is an actual quantifiable psychological thing they're studying. It's called synchrony.
Yeah, so online, we have a mic right above your head, so maybe that picked it up. But what Dave was saying, if you didn't hear him clearly, was there is a phenomenon called synchrony that brings people together when we laugh together, sing together, these types of things, and it makes us bond. And I wonder if that is why what we did here this morning, I think, pleased God so much, as it were. One of Jesus' prayers that he offers in the Gospel of John as part of his long prayer before he's arrested and all that, is he prays that his disciples and his followers will be one. One. Not because we all believe the same things exactly the same way, but I wonder if those disciples, who were a bunch of fishermen, by the way, so they were cutting it up, I wonder if it was because he knows that the relational connection that we have is really the answer to bringing shalom more and more into the world. Thanks for that, Dave. Somebody else? Thought I saw somebody. Oh, yeah, Reese.
So I was an exchange student in high school, and the organization that hosted it is the American Field Service, and they used to send people behind enemy lines to pick up any injured soldier in World War II. And then after that, they decided to create like an exchange student program so people would go from their country of origin to another country where they're like well known, like for 6 months or 12 months, like you can't be an enemy anymore.
Ah.
Anybody you spent 6 or 12 months with, living in your home, going to their school, meeting with their friends. And the other thing you do is you learn their language. And jokes are one of the very last things you learn, because jokes are so like culturally embedded and like nuanced and abstract. And yet, like when you're done with that experience, like you can never see that group or any group that is related to that group as a stranger again, because you've like eaten with them, cried with them, danced with them, laughed with them, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like when we're sort of from, I guess, an administrative standpoint, seeing people as others and all this, I'm like just asking myself, like, have you ever been to that country? Have you ever met a single person from that country? Have you ever eaten a meal with somebody from this part of the world? Do you speak that language? Like, how can you even form an opinion at all?
Yeah.
Watching them basically on mute from across the world, that's not how we come to understand and love each other.
Beautiful, yeah. So for our online audience, Reese was talking about how she was involved in an exchange program and the relational connection that was bonded through sharing life together and laughter together eventually made it really, really difficult, if not impossible, to see the other as an other anymore, but brought people together and shared humanity rather than doing what we usually do, which is to separate and other people in dangerous ways. Yeah, great stuff. Ellie in the back.
I don't remember how many minutes ago it was, but something in what Pastor Parks was saying just cracked Reese up.
Huh.
And Reese was just full of joy, and her curls were going. And Sean and I just cracked up, which reminds me that laughter is contagious.
Yeah, great.
And if we spread a little laughter, we can spread a little peace.
Love
and
that.
understand.
Yeah, Ellie was talking about how laughter is contagious, and we certainly saw that with Ann, I mean, when she was literally belly laughing up here and we were doing it with her, you were laughing. At least most of you were. And that was wonderful. What a shared experience we had. What a different kind of thing. Candace.
Sharing good belly laughs with friends and how good they feel afterwards. And from a scientific standpoint, it releases feel-good hormones.
Yeah.
It releases stress. It releases cortisol. It has all that relaxation effect. So generally, people that really do find humor in life and laugh more often are generally healthier people.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, Candace just reaffirming that laughter is truly good for the body as well, and you're able to get through life better when you're able to laugh along the way. Really good. Yeah, Katie.
I was also thinking that even in times of awful sadness or grief or other things,
Yeah.
humor has a way of sneaking in and making it happier. If you can just kind of find those silly moments if you're remembering somebody or something, it helps kind of lighten the whole and give that little reprieve from whatever you're going through.
Yeah, thanks, Katie, mentioning how laughter, even in times of grief, is incredibly healing for us. And we've seen that, we've seen that so many times here at this church, where because we often host the memorial services of people who have been in recovery and died from whatever cause. And the recovery community comes together, and this place is absolutely packed. But you've also, and even though it's a time of grief and we recognize that, some of the greatest laughter is heard in this room when they're remembering the story of somebody and something silly that happened, a fun story. It's amazing. You wouldn't think that that would be the case. And I know that some people were probably raised that in settings like that, to have such levity is disrespectful even. And some of us were raised in church traditions that said that you must be solemn in a church service because it gives respect to God. And yet we are made in the image of God, and we have this capacity to laugh. And so full circle back to laughter brings us together and does great things, even in funerals. Yeah. Trudy.
I don't seem to have what's considered a normal sense of humor.
You're right, Trudy. We've known that for years.
So much of what I see, say on TV, that's supposed to be funny, is put that way.
Oh, yeah,
Put
right.
it so much down.
Yeah.
I don't find that funny.
Yeah, that's okay. Because there's a part of you that's recognizing that's not healthy sometimes. Yeah. Yep. Good. Anybody else? Yeah, Lisa.
In my 30-some-odd years of nursing, the giggles that I have with my patients created a bond between us that made it more important for me. It made me work harder at making them feel better, and it made them want more to get better, be lighter, and distract from pain, and
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
relationship with the nursing.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa, for the online community. Just talking as a now retired ICU nurse, being aware of how much laughter was part of the healing process and relationship process between nurse and patient, and how that improves, and both sides helps someone to get better faster. It's really great. It's really great. Well, thank you for all of your insights and your shared wisdom that we've had today. I'd like to lead us in a brief prayer, and then I have a benediction that I encourage you to say with me out loud when we get there. So let's pray together. God, thank you for the gift of laughter. You've got to be laughing all the time at us. Because sometimes we can be utterly ridiculous just by living our everyday life. And you do not laugh at us in a demeaning way. You laugh at us in a joyful way as a loving parent just exudes joy and laughter in their own children. And so I believe that's how you see us. Not laughing at, laughing with, because you find great joy in your creation. And we are part of it. I pray, God, that as we have been thinking about humor and laughing at ourselves, if we've struggled to do that for whatever reason, I pray that you would help us find the reason why we struggle to do that. What have we been told? What do we tell ourselves? Because there's a joy thief afoot. And maybe if we start to wonder why we struggle, laughing at ourselves or just bringing levity into situations, maybe we're going to find a real opportunity to grow and to heal in ways that maybe we didn't even know we needed to. And so be our guide in that process. And may the winds of your Spirit for all of us as we move from this place out into the rest of the world, may you give us a vision, eyes to see the funny all around us. if it's in a squirrel doing a squirrely thing, or if it's a dog doing a dog thing, or a person doing a people-y thing that's funny, give us the capacity to see it and rejoice and laugh in it. Because it is a gift to the world, it's a gift to our souls, and perhaps it even is a song of worship to you. Now I encourage you to open your eyes, turn your gaze to the screen, and let's say this out loud together. As you go into the world, may we remember the joy, 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 joy down in our heart. May it help us to be happy, at least sometimes. May we rejoice because we can. May we celebrate our ridiculousness with noisy, silly fanfare and encourage others to do the same. Thanks for being here today, folks. We'll see you next week. All right.